Hello and welcome back to the Vital Daily. This is an episode on empowerment through social media. And here today I have with me David Spark, the owner of Spark Media Solutions. Hi, David.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So you are one of the people who pioneered social media solutions for businesses, empowering businesses to create thought leadership. Is that right?
I've done a lot of stuff in business. I appreciate you giving me some credit about pioneering. I don't know. She said it, not me. Yeah, for so long people have been talking about how can, businesses be engaged in social media. But all it really is, social media is taking what has been previously done through traditional custom publishing and bringing it into a socially distributed space. Custom publishing, which a lot of people don't know what it is, but they experience it all the time. Most common and probably the best people who do custom publishing is AAA. Mm-hmm. So you get AAA maps and tour books, and before Google Maps and stuff, there was the triptychs as well. If you're old enough to remember with the triptychs. But they have built their brand on that. And all that content is for free. But now AAA owns the space of road travel. They totally own it. Mm-hmm. Maybe a little less so because they don't have the presence in the social and the web sphere that they did in sort of the offline sphere. But they own that. And that's because of custom publishing. And financial firms do this as well. You'll get like your Charles Schwab or your Fidelity Report magazine, which is articles about how to invest in your 401k. That's to keep you as a customer and sort of upsell you to do more things within Fidelity. And you read this and go, oh, well, Fidelity knows everything about investing and stuff because they're giving me this great advice. I'm seeing them as a thought leader in investing. So that's essentially what I do for clients. We determine what it is they want to be seen as. Who are the key people to connect with or the key environments, and we just sort of produce editorial content in that way. And there's even a more directed way where you can actually feed this content into a sales channel.
Perfect. I remember when I interviewed Biz Stone, the co-founder of Twitter, who also helped create Blogger. He said that one of the biggest challenges he faced was when he demoed the product, people asked him, well, what am I going to write about? A lot of people just don't think they have anything to share or to write. How do you empower companies to feel like they have something to say?
I am actually going to be giving a presentation where I'm going to answer this very question. This happens all the time, and it stems out of the I have no time to blog. I have no time for social media. Right. Extremely, extremely common thing to hear. But it's not that those people are not involved in digital communications or in communications. Like, there's this communications and there's the communications in front of the keyboard. We send emails all day. We have interesting conversations. The problem is all this information is very, very private. Mm-hmm. You just have to shift your way of thinking and taking it from a private to a more public space. Mm-hmm. The most common public space is to put it up on a blog. And there are other ways to do this as well. So, for example, one organization I spoke to, whenever a big story hits, the executive director has to set aside an entire day to just doing phone interviews with the press all day. Mm-hmm. And I say, he goes, I'll do 30 in a single day. And I go, how many of those are you saying the exact same thing? And he goes, all 30. And I say, well, why don't you just write a blog post of exactly what you say, put it up there, and then you won't have to conduct any of those interviews. And lo and behold, they finally did that. They did actually put a blog post, and now he doesn't have to do those 30 interviews in a day because that content is up there, and the journalists who want to know that information can find it.
So it's about efficiency, too.
Right, but just you're essentially reprogramming the way you create content. I kind of liken it to, and I wish I was this good, but someone who's really good at martial arts cannot be surprised at all. Right. When you get really good at social media, you are constantly seeing the stories. You know what, that's going to make a hot story. I need to publish that. And I'm going to distribute that one via Twitter. I'm going to put that onto Facebook. I'm going to put that into a blog. I'm going to take a photograph of that. I'm going to shoot a video of that. And you're kind of hypersensitive. The better you get at this, like the better you get at martial arts, you kind of rise up and things become easier for you. At the beginning, it's hard to break a board. Later, it becomes very easy.
So it kind of becomes your second nature. You're saying
Right.
everything becomes content creation.
Yes, everything does it. And so you start thinking more, not I should email this to someone, but rather I should put a blog post out of this.
So it's just a different way to communicate, really.
Exactly. And it's mostly in the simplest way possible, taking private conversations and making them public.
I see. Well, a lot of bloggers have expressed to me that sometimes it's a bit of a challenge to put your personal information out there. You don't know who it's going to. So how do you encourage your clients to share more of their private stuff?
Well, I don't think, you have to share, what you had for breakfast or what your kids are doing, but I think another perfect example, and I'm not going to give the details of this, but I remember being at a party where a guy who worked for an organization that helped with credit card processing, and he explained a lot of different theories about complications in credit card processing that I didn't know anything about because I'm not in that business. But he was so passionate about it, and it was so obviously he knew his business. And after he was done, I go, that should be a video right there. Boom. What you just did should be a video, because he so conveyed his knowledge and what he knew. And if you saw that video of that guy describing it first, you'd be informed on that topic. And if you needed that kind of credit card processing, well, that's a guy you're going to hire. It's pretty clear. The problem was he told it to me and 4 other people at a party, and it was lost and gone. So you have to realize, who are those smart people in the organization to have these great stories to tell? It was, I think it was British Telecom, or maybe it was a gas company. I'm forgetting, but one company, I was just learning about this at the Enterprise 2.0 communications. They gave flip cameras to a lot of their engineers and just say, videotape what you know how to do. Okay?
Yeah.
And they just shot a little video like, hey, when you have this situation where there's this kind of plaster on the wall and you need to get through it, kind of a thing, here's a technique that I do. Just shot a video of it. And then all of a sudden this became a library of assets. Now, this is good for twofold. The people who shot the good videos and made that content, you realize these are the smart people, these are the people I promote. But not only that, me as an organization now have all these assets to train the next group of people coming in as well. Instead of all that information is locked in that guy's head, and when he retires, it goes with him.
Yeah. Well, we all know the power of PR and thought leadership, but for many people, the bottom line is, where is the profit? So what do you tell your clients when they want to know how their blogging, their PR creation can lead to hardline profit?
So often what I say to people is, you can't know today, but you can know it will show benefit in the future. Even the world's greatest salesmen can't close a sale 100% themselves. And I'm talking about bigger ticket prices because going back to the business stuff, I often deal with clients that have products that they're selling to a group of business people. There could be maybe a dozen people involved in the decision-making process, and it could take 6 months to 2 years to sell the product in. So as you might think, there are a lot of questions and answers these people want to get, and different people are looking for different information along the line. Your sales staff are out there, and they're on the front line of dealing with these problems, and if they don't have the answers to them, sales get lost.
Right.
So all I suggest is create these answers that your sales staff are dealing with, and then you're going to start closing more sales, because there may be a continuum of sales, from 1 to 10, from I'm kind of interested to let's buy right now, and there's everything in between, and everything in between can be a multitude of different things. If you're not satisfying needs along that, you may be losing people, and not only that, going back to the situation of the great salesman can really kind of sell you on the idea, but it is you, if I'm selling to you, you have to make the decision on your own. You have to validate your decision through some kind of third-party information. Say, this is good. Either a friend tells you this is a good product, or you read a case study. Now, I could start creating those case studies. Now, it will still be validation because it's another organization that used the product, even though we were the ones who published it.
Perfect. So in terms of the form of content, a lot of people are saying, look, we're just overwhelmed with information. We don't want to read another blog. We already have the Twitter feed. We already have the Facebook and everything else. How can you make your content more accessible to people? Do you make videos? Do you just take a picture a day? Do you make a funny video? What makes it sort of more of an entertainment as well as information?
it gets down to two issues. One is setting up filters, and two of being very directed in the content that you're creating. If you have